welcome back to another fabulous channel. I'm Jacobishere, and today we are doing a wedding episode for Growing Together. Now, this is not a wedding episode of any of the kids, because none of the kids are old enough, obviously, to get married. It's also not a wedding episode for either of the two lead, because they're already married. This is actually Mindy's mom's wedding. This is the third wedding that Mindy has been to for her parents. Before we jump into a little bit of let's catch you up to speed for Mindy. Growing Together is a sequel series to Birth of Death, where we gave birth to a sim, and we've been following that sim since then. And when she became a young adult and she got married and she had kids, Growing Together came out, the expansion pack, and so we moved over to Growing Together, which is why it's called that. It's technically Birth of Death Season 2. There, I think, will be a total of 3 seasons. I have a mini-series for when she's an elder that I planned on doing. But that being said, I very want to quickly talk about what happened before the wedding. So we already go backwards in time. A few days ago, it's been about a month or so since the last episode in game, and so a few days ago, Bob Pancakes, which is Iggy's dad, which I don't think I talked about enough, came down and they had a long conversation with a pretty interesting resolution. So let's go ahead and jump over to that, Jacob, and we can jump into that conversation, and then we can get started on this wedding, and I'll do a little background history for you on the family to get you up to speed. But I found it was really interesting. He ended up calling his dad to come over, and he's asking his dad about his love life, because if you guys do not know, Iggy is the son of Bob and Eliza Pancake, most problematic sims in the entire game when it comes to relationships outside of Mortimer Goth. Mortimer truly loved Bella. I do feel that in my heart. Eliza and Bob, I don't really know. All we really know from the description of the relationship is that before they had Iggy with the update, they were in an extremely rocky path. This is shown throughout their house and everything else. And then once they did get a refresh, they're the first family to get a really big refresh in the game for the Sims team. They had Iggy, and then that refresh, it did mention that Iggy, or I guess we all kind of just assumed, fixed their relationship because, well, that's just kind of what happened. So I think Iggy is like, how do I fix my relationship? I think really that is the question that is being asked here, and he's asking his dad, which is interesting. I don't think we really talk about Bob very often. Eliza pops up a lot. In my opinion, he's much closer, I mean, just relationship wise, with Eliza than Bob. I think it's important to note that he is asking. They're having some very deep conversations. I'm sure right here at the dinner table, where like Andrea, who happens to be upstairs doing things, could come down. The infants are also doing things. Oh my gosh, Mateo's calling again. Well, I'll answer. Oh my god, the plot thickens. Oh my shit. Okay, I gotta do a little background. Okay, in the last episode, so many things are about to come at you, but bear with me. We're gonna go through it like in a rapid speed, okay? Alright, we'll run down on the Mateo and Iggy and like Mindy situation. Mateo is Iggy's best friend. Mateo and Mindy have previously dated. Mateo is Mindy's first. So if you know what I mean, that's all I'll say. Then, that all happened during graduation. If you guys are curious what episode is 5. Graduation from high school. That's the night that you're looking for at a graduation party. By the way, Mindy and Mateo start dating when they're like, they have childhood crushes on one another. It doesn't go any past that really until she forever has longing feelings. She still has longing feelings, in my opinion. I don't really know if it's still happening because this is so many this is like 14, 15 years later. But it's still, you know, there's feelings there. Mindy, they have childhood crushes. They end up not doing anything when they're teenagers. He ends up dating somebody completely different. And Mindy ends up finding Iggy, and they end up having like a very sweet romance throughout high school. Then once it comes to prom, she ends up breaking off prom due to a comment that her mom made, and then she ends up going to college. When she's in college is a very rough time for her. She's with her best friend Evie, who she thinks is her ride or die, and who we've not talked to in a very long time. Mindy ends up dating Mari, who is a girl. Mari's married and stuff now. They don't end up working out, and then she ends up dropping out of college right before her final semester, and she ends up meeting Iggy randomly at a job opening. They end up dating, getting married, okay? Flashback to Mateo. So in college, she tried to get back together with Mateo before she met Iggy. It was more like a last minute ditch effort to try to find somebody to hang out with because Evie kind of left her in the middle of college. It's a whole thing. It doesn't really matter. And essentially, Mateo actually ends up being like, dude, I met someone. I fell in love. We have a kid together. Her name is Morgan Fry. Yeah, if you guys know who that is. She is a townie in one of the world. I can't remember what it's called. Windenburg. So he texts us during this whole entire like event thing, right? During the twins' birthday, we believe Iggy's cheating. She ends up having a whole spiral about it, and we have a whole episode about her spiral. And then we get a message from Mateo to Iggy asking, should I go on a date with this Kayla Flemings. Well, we continue to learn, Mateo is actually in a very healthy and happy, or maybe I guess not healthy or happy, he's in a marriage relationship with his wife Morgan, who he just cheated on. And I'm saying congrats. He has like a little thing down here saying, just call me Cupid from hooking up other Sims. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't. Oh my god, he just told him to move out. And then of course, before we jump into this, let's quickly explain who London even is. So Angie got picked to be the flower girl. She looks so cute. I'm so excited for her. She was super duper excited to be the flower girl too. We'll introduce these people in a second. This is obviously our main character, Mindy. This is the one we're following. For instance, Growing Together is an interesting series because when the kids do age up and age out of the house, we're not following them. We're not going off onto their own generations. We're sticking with Mindy. This is Mindy's life story, and so we're sticking with Mindy. Mindy and Iggy right now are going through a time and a half. They are not good. Like, not good at all. It's just what it is. They're in a really, really bad place, and Mindy can't seem to get over it, and Iggy is very oblivious, and he just doesn't understand why she keeps arguing. It's really the answer I have for you. And like I said, that conversation that we talked about, his dad said separation, and in my interpretation for that was always like, maybe he should always separate from Eliza. Maybe that was always the plan. And then they had Iggy, but they've had 3 children, and this is not changing. Also, I would like to mention that Mateo is also a cheater. That was also a part of that clip. I don't know if exactly it didn't happen directly afterwards, but I will conclude it because like he did cheat on his wife, which I found was shocking. So Mateo is also a cheater, which means that she is just surrounded by people who are horrible. Then we have Maggie and Aaron, which is her kids, and then we have Andrea, which is also her kid. Okay, so then we come over here. Evie's here, by the way. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you guys are familiar with Evie, we'll talk about Evie. So London and Alice Martin are the people getting married. London is one of Mindy's mom, London and Jennifer. So London and Jennifer, when Mindy was a child, got married. Actually, I think it was London who called off the marriage because Jennifer was cheating on her with Dina. So they broke up. They end up living with her parents, which is Shauna, who is right here, who I absolutely adore. Then we also have Harry, who's not very around very often. Like, I don't even think she knows Harry. Harry doesn't show up very much. He's a recluse if he's not at his job. So, like, we don't really talk to Harry, but that's fine. Shauna and everybody else is super duper close. Shauna was there for a lot of beginning parts of their lives and stuff. And, like, she grew up with Shauna. She lived with Shauna since time she was a child, all the way up until when she went to college and moved out on her own. Shauna was there. Shauna is basically her mom. She was her officiant at the wedding. It was like a whole thing, you know? They broke off the wedding. London and Mindy left Jennifer because Jennifer was the one who ended up ending that relationship, and they moved in with her parents, Shauna and Harry, who have another daughter named Tracy, who's also married to Eric, who has several children that are also here. Bowen, Leighton, and Kendra. Kendra being the one that we believe Iggy did cheat on. So 2 people that Iggy possibly cheated on with are at this party, which is an interesting development. I'm just saying, weddings in this household are famously not great. And, you know, I think their wedding went fine. Mindy wasn't the actual person getting married at. Not great. So we'll jump into that. Jennifer and Dina got married relatively soon after Mindy aged up into a teenager because Mindy actually has a half brother that we don't talk to. His name is Nalish. We don't talk to him at all. He's a part of Dina's side, and we just don't really get along with Dina. But we were there. And at that wedding, Mindy actually took her first sip of alcohol and became romantically involved with Iggy. That's where that relationship originally started, with her being slightly drunk. Mindy and alcohol really got along really well, and she ended up having it to be a clutch for a long time after that, for almost up until like she met Iggy again, up until she left college. But there is a bar here, and Mindy's life is very stressful, so we'll see where that takes us. It wasn't the original plan, but it's almost, I don't know, it's interesting. Then we fast forward. I mean, Jennifer and Dina have been together for quite a while now. They have a huge, like, they're like billionaires. They're like really, really expensive people. They have like 5 restaurant chains. It's a big deal. And for a long time there, we were more closer with Jennifer just because Jennifer was funding a lot of different things that Mindy was doing. Now we're more closer with London, who technically was there more. London gives really bad advice. I mean, that's what it was. London was the one who decided that Iggy and her should have broken up. And it's a whole complicated thing. Interestingly enough, London is also the one who invited Evie. Now, if you guys did not know this, and I didn't really talk about this in the main series, London's always been a very big fan of Evie. Evie's always been really kind and really sweet, and she always really appreciated the friendship that Evie and Mindy had when she saw it. Much more than Iggy, or much more than Mateo. And so I do find it just a little bit interesting that these are things that are being discussed and happening at this wedding. But that being said, I do think we are fully up to speed. So now, after London and Alice have been together for a very long time, they're officially tying the knot, and And Alice is very good, but London does have this fear of cheating because it's just so much wrapped up into their family. Just absolutely crazy how much it's wrapped up into their family. I really hope it doesn't like spread off into the children and stuff. But that being said, let's go ahead and watch Andrea walk down this beautiful aisle because she's our little girl and like she deserves her moment. Oh, so I don't see the flower girl interaction like thing very often. Look how cute it is. It's so cute. Oh, and her tooth is missing. I forgot about that. Aww. Yeah, there you go. Shauna has been at so many weddings. She's been at almost every wedding that I talked about except for Jennifer's because this is London's mom. And she's crying. Let's see how Mindy's reacting. I'm genuinely curious to see how Mindy would react. This is what Mindy decided to wear, by the way. I don't know what that says, but... And they've been together for a very long time. Alice was somebody, oh my gosh, since like teenager. Like, and Mindy will be aging up into an adult relatively soon. It's so far away for you guys, like 2 or 3 months from now, but for you guys, but it's not that far, like story-wise. Oh, they messed up the kid. I just love Mindy so much. Okay, now we're married. Oh, she's so excited for her. That's like so exciting. Okay. And I think she's gonna pull Kendra to the side today. This is the first time they talked in a little bit. I'm going to put Kendra and Mindy into a group, and I think that she's gonna pull her off like over here, and I think they're gonna have a conversation about it. I do get nervous leaving Iggy like by himself. That's how much of a cheat, or how much of a flirt he is. Once again, I don't know how comfortable I am calling him a cheater. Oh my god, that's Mari. Guys, this is Mari. I've not seen her since college. Ah! Oh my word. This is not married Mari. Okay, keep that in mind. She was engaged for a while. They could have called that off, though. This was the person that, like, when we went to college and we like, really figured out, like, Mindy's sexuality. She's bisexual, like I've mentioned before. This is with the person that we figured that out with. They were roommates. Or they were staying in the same building, I should say. I'm going to make her leave. I do think, because they're here, I think she's going to ask, they're going to have a deep conversation. I think in this conversation, Mindy is going to put things pretty much squarely, like, kind of squarely out. Like, did Iggy come on to you? Did Iggy speak to you romantically at the party? Like, were these things that my husband did? Should I be worried? Okay, judging based on that like reaction, obviously you gotta judge it based on the reactions of the Sims. Tell a true story here. I'm gonna probably say that's a yes. That's a yes. I think maybe that is a yes. Okay, hold on. She's going to ask about Iggy. I like Iggy. He is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I think I get the confirmation. I would love to know what you guys are interpreting. I was there. I saw it happen. I know exactly what happened. Iggy did flirt with Kendra. But now Mindy knows that Iggy flirted with Kendra. And I wish that there was like some type of interaction where we can reveal that. Because like Iggy just doesn't know her. Iggy's already romantic. Oh my god. That's freaking dangerous. I think Mindy is gonna hire a mixologist. Which I don't know how much I necessarily agree with this choice, but I think that is something that she's going to do. I'll have the brides go ahead and feed cake to Alice. We'll go ahead and like set that one up to make that like a little bit easier. And then Mindy's on her way over. Order drink. She's going to order her favorite drink. I don't know if this is water. I don't know what exactly like what it is. Oh, Layton. That makes sense. She's such a sim that would do that though. Okay, so this mixologist is not the best. I just kind of love how we're all just hanging out, having a good time. I do enjoy that. Let's figure out what this is. It's a virgin Caprina, considered often by a national drink of Brazil. This is very refreshing and simple, being often enjoyed and festive. According to historians, it was involved since enjoyed the simplified virgin rendition of this drink and wonderful Sims mixologist. Virgin normally means that there is no alcohol in it, so I guess we'll say that she's drinking a non-alcoholic beverage, which is, you know, it's pretty good. Knowing that her moms got married again and things like that, I will say that I do think she's trying to reflect more on her relationship. This wedding came at a more than perfect time in that regard, because I truly just do think that there is a reflection here, that there is a conversation to be had, that she's nervous and afraid that her marriage is not living up to like what she originally had hoped and wanted. I think is really the answer here. I think she wanted more from her marriage, and I don't personally think she's getting that. And I think that is something that is slightly possibly also in the back of her head, where she kind of feels like she failed. Like if they get divorced, they do these things that she may be thinking about separating for, a period of time, even if that's like a year or something. Maybe they'll try that out. Maybe they won't get directly divorced. There's a lot of other options that they can go through, counsel therapy and stuff, and we'll figure out what they end up deciding to do. I will say this much. I do find it very... I think she's taking it into consideration directly, how it's affecting her, how it's going to affect her relationship with Iggy going forward, and if she thinks that the love that she has right now is the love that she truly deserves. And I do have to, I'm going to bring it open to you guys. As much as the series is outlined, and as much as like certain things, the series is ebb and flow when I'm coming through to figure out what every episode's about and stuff as I do. Just a little easier recording that way. My question always is the same to you guys, because I don't know if you guys know this yet, but that was several of you guys had influenced that into figuring out exactly either what Mindy would know in the situation or how Mindy would react, or what the storyline was going to be for that week or whatever. So if you guys have any ideas of what to do with the situation, please let me know in the comments down below. I do think it's a very tricky situation. I know a lot of you guys people who've been following this for a while, I think we're and I was in the same boat, hoping Mateo would be the best option, a chance of having to pick somebody else. If somebody else is her true soulmate, that if she ever gets remarried, if they break up or get divorced or anything. I don't know if that's gonna be the case or not, because once again, Mateo seems to be pretty much a cheat, and then Mari was technically engaged to somebody else when we broke off our relationship. But I do know I have some Mari fans, and maybe that didn't work out, and maybe Mari is the way to go. I don't know. Moral of the story is, the more that this gets interrogated with her family, which ends up happening always, her outside, of her immediate family, I think the more complicated it's going to be for people who've not seen Birth of Death. So I'm very sorry for that, but it is a sequel series. Kind of have to have some type of understanding. I am trying to explain it as best as I can, though. And I'll always link a few important episodes in the cards and stuff. And maybe I'll make a list down below of the most important Mindy episodes in the description. If you guys think that will be helpful, so just let me know. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.